Hello and welcome to the next episode, installment, whatever we want to call it, of making mannequin heads into planters. Hope you're having a great day. I've got a couple of things that I want to work on specifically. Some of it is painting, and then the main thing is getting this guy. Where I left off was that I'm going to finish getting the foam out of the head, and then I'm going to smooth down this edge and this edge. I'm going to smooth these edges, those top edges down as well, and I'm going to glue them on so that they will flap just like this to hold soil in. So with that said, I need to keep digging for the insides of the head. All right, so there's the packet of, see, it looks like a cup to me. I think that's what they do to create the foam in the head. They pop it in there, and that's where the foam starts. I think that so, because it's in the two identical heads that I've done, two. Both of these heads have had the same thing, and then there's some sort of post in the bottom. It's that plug, the black plug you see in there. Which I'm going to need to drill out for drainage. I wouldn't actually, I wonder if I really need to drill it out. Now that I think about it, maybe it doesn't need the bottom drainage. And if it's got the side drainage, it still will leave some moisture in the bottom of the head, so that moisture will stay here. And then if I go here, then it's going to be basically leaving about that much where the water can sit. Or do I want that at all? Do I want standing water in my pots? I don't. I don't think I do. Pretty sure I'm going to say no on that. So what's creepy, as I take these out, you can see my fingers move underneath the skin, which is kind of wild. Look at that. I don't know if you can see that or not. As I'm digging. Yeah. Oh, that's creepy. Oh, look at it in his face. That's cool. I totally get why people who do like horror movie makeup, why they do it, and like prosthetics and all of those things. I would love to do that. I used to really love it when doing opera, when we would work with the Civic Opera in Kansas City, and they would do productions that I was always like, yeah, I'll perform, but I'll also do people's makeup, because it's so much fun. It's very artistic. You just basically paint people's faces, and and it's live theater on pretty large, large stages. So, or in big old churches. So it was always fun to, either make people look like they were, from another planet, or from another time, all of those things. So look at that. So this is an issue with the spray paint. It doesn't have the flexibility and the adhesion that like an acrylic paint would have. It just it gets brittle and peels. Very interesting. I don't mind it. I'm just gonna go with it because it is pretty funky and kind of brutal and blech. So now I'm gonna take my little nippers. I'm gonna see if this is gonna work. I'm kind of experimenting. Well, I'm totally experimenting. And I'm going to trim the edge. I was thinking, I could just use some sandpaper. Well, let's try sandpaper first. Maybe that'll just be the easiest way instead of snip, 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 nippy, 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 snips. Let's try this. I'm not like really confident that this is going to actually work, but how would I know until I actually try it, right? I keep on telling you to experiment with stuff, and that's how I figure out ways to do stuff. Kind of like, well, there's a weird idea. Let's try that, and if it doesn't work, pivot to something else. It's kind of like life constantly. You're constantly having to pivot to adapt to situations that you don't expect. It's kind of what art is. And art is the embodiment of our lives, about what we deal with in our lives. And it's representation of those struggles and all of that. Wow, I'm really heady today. Yeah, but you know, that's kind of what art is you got to be fearless in it. Because being fearless in art, in your exploration of things, helps you discover different ways of doing things, or different, you know, different approaches, or maybe different mediums that you've never worked in, like Mannequin Heads, right? That you never thought you'd be working in, but you kind of had an idea of, wouldn't that be weird and bizarre to try working in? So that actually worked well. Let me show you the la la la. Smooth enough for what I need. Heck yes. It should give me some sort of a bonding surface that's not too rough for me to be able to glue to. Glue. So I think going along with, yeah, not going up and down like across it, but going with it seems to work better and faster and less frustratingly. So this is the head that I was talking about doing the shells on. So I really kind of freaking love the idea of these shells on here. It takes it from being Mr. Roboto, which I love the idea of too, to being a sort of a barnacle-laden underwater relic that I could have pulled up while scuba diving, which to me is very appealing, that idea, you know, that you don't really know where it's coming from, and they're all from different places, or all from with sort of different ideas, different approaches. That way they're not all just, oh, here's one head, and I did this treatment on this one, and I did the same treatment on that one. I mean, that's great if you're, you know, sort of producing them for sale, for, you know, variations on the one thing. I think that's fabulous. Don't get me wrong, that's awesome, and helps to, is this the correct one? Maybe pay the bills. But that's not what I'm doing here. I'm doing these for my own edification. And I'm going to try different pieces of sandpaper on this one. So now I'm going to smooth down the piece that's going to go in, at least just the surface. I don't care if it's rough around the edges. I actually kind of like this real roughness that I got from using those tin snips, because there's, like I mentioned, they've got a serration to them. And I am breathing and stuff, so I don't want to do that. ruin my lungs for singing. Sorry, that was gross, but much needed. There we go. Smooth. Try not to breathe in the rubber that I'm making into microparticles, or very small particles. This is much better. All right, this is working nicely. I'll show you these in just a second. But yeah, so experiment with different stuff for different pieces that you're doing, different mediums, all that stuff. Find one that you like, stick to it if you want, really explore it, really delve into it deeply. That's how I am with acrylics. I tried watercolor. I can do watercolor. Yeah, I can paint in watercolor. I can use watercolor, and I kind of know the techniques, some of the techniques behind it, the basic techniques. But it's just kind of, I don't know. I think my hands shake too much. I don't know what it is. It's really kind of not my jam, because I need to either be completely free or really meticulous. This sort of thing pushes my envelope of comfort, because I am being like really free with it and just wacky, right, out there. And my paintings, my large scale paintings, are just really wacky. They're all emotion on canvas. But that came out good. The watercolor is that, and I have friends who just do these spectacular watercolors, and I'm like, it's not my medium. It's not my jam. It's not my comfort zone. So I have to figure out how to put this guy. That's edge is smooth too. Oh, look at that. That worked really well. Huzzah. Let me see if I can focus. Bink, bink. Come on. Right on there. That's pretty good, right? Right. Yeah. So that's the other side. This is this side, right? Still? Yeah, this is this side. I'm going to put just a small amount of this because if I put too much on, it takes forever to dry. I'm going to stay away from it. Keep my glasses on, at least for this. And then, should I put a bead on here or should I put a bead on here? My inclination is to put a bead on here and then put this on and just sort of set it like that. That's my thought. Because then when it's all like cemented together, whew, that's so strong. I can then push it in. I think I'm going to put it on here because it'd be easiest, most stable edge. I don't know. Just making this stuff up as I go, you know. But only a little bit. I do know that I only want a little of this glue on this edge. When you put more on it, not only does it take a long time, relatively, to dry, but I don't think you get as good of adhesion. I can always add more later to get more, you know, once it's sort of together to fill in any gaps and stuff, because it will do that. It'll get goopy. Ooh, huzzah, look at that. Wow, that went on very nicely. Right on. Now, I'm gonna have to wait before I turn it over to do the other side. I was just thinking, oh, I'll just flip it right over. Oh, good, look at that, it's already starting to adhere because I just used a little bit. So I'm gonna leave that on the side to dry for right now, or to cure, or to do whatever it does. And, oop, oh no. Well, poop. I'm gonna have to get a new mask. Cool, so the next thing I was gonna do anyway is to do some painting. So she's doing well. I got online over the last few days and did some research on how do I wanna do these? What do I wanna paint? What kind of effects do I want? I should be wearing my reading glasses right now so I can actually see, but I do know I got some inspirations, and I'm not going to copy anything, which I have no problems with people copying stuff, you know, copying ideas and trying it out for their own. I think it's a brilliant way to learn, if you like it or not, or if you like doing it. But I am going to use these paints. I'm going to start with the copper. Copper, right? Bright copper. There's not a lot in here. I actually used, so these are brilliant also. If you can get these at your local box, whatever store, like a Home Depot, Lowe's, I don't remember which one, I think it was Lowe's because I don't go to Home Depot anymore. Their politics are a little sketchy. Or they were in the past, so I just tend to go to Lowe's. I just do go to Lowe's. So these are the Deco Art and other brands. I don't think, are these all? No, and then there's Americana Multi-Surface. That's from a different location. These may be actually from, God, who knows where. I think they were on a side thing in one store that we were in some random place, and I saw, oh, and they're from Deco Art as well. But these little bottles, you get them and they're only a few bucks, and you can get like wacky colors. Like I've got a few of them. I pick them up wherever I can. I've got a bunch of these are Martha Stewart colors, and then a bunch of other ones. But these little bottles are fabulous because when you do smaller stuff, and you know you're not going to use like a giant thing of them, a giant thing of the color you don't want, the giant thing of the color or whatever, they are wonderful to be able to use on all different types of stuff. They're really, they're craft paint. They're faux finishing paints and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put some of this, thinking about it, I want this top lip to come down into her top lip to be different from her bottom lip. Ooh, Lord, that's hard to see for me. Oh. Nicole Byer, if anybody knows Nicole Byer, she's a comedian. I am a huge fan of hers. So if you know her, tell her, hey, you should watch these videos, because he is a mega super fan of yours. If it has Nicole Byer on it, in it, around it, I will watch it. That was just the little snippet that I did with the, I'm gonna put some lips up on here. I just adore Nicole Byer. So anyway, that was just completely superfluous and off the top of my head because I made a sound that sounded a little bit like her. So now, so I've got it there. That's cool. It's got another layer of interest. See, I wasn't gonna leave it just black. Now I'm putting it just around the, under the lid. What would be the lid that I chopped out? Well, I didn't chop it, but I took out with that very roughly. Oh, I love this. And I'm gonna get it up on the inside, right up underneath that lid line, so that it sort of brightens up what would be a hollow eye, and instead brings it to a weird coppery eye. Brightens up her face a little bit. As I was looking at the paints and stuff, I was like, oh, these have really great metallic paints that I've used. So the costumes that I was referring to before, where I showed you with that one mask, it's the one that's up there. The mask that's, oh, you can't see it. There it is, all the way in the back. The jackets that I did with the neon, I also painted, because it's got all these cogs and everything like that. I painted scroll work and cool designs that I found that I really liked, and seahorses. For some reason, I was obsessed with seahorses. Horses at the time. My mom has done a number of seahorses that are just incredibly gorgeously brilliant. She's painted them. She uses ink, black ink and paint. Like, she's one who can do that watercolor. She uses a lot of different type of paint techniques and approaches, and ink pen and paint pens and stuff, and she does brilliant work. Actually, one of her pieces of it's very sort of Chinese, Japanese, not really sure it's Asian, and I apologize for not knowing really what country it was inspired by, but it's gorgeous. And it's basically like the calligraphy for the gorgeous Asian languages, how they use a calligraphy brush, and it's a heron, and it's here. I've got it on my big old belly, and the guy I had do it, Sick of Jim, is his. If you go to his website, he's got he does phenomenal work. And I did it right at the beginning of COVID. He did it right at the beginning of COVID, and he literally replicated my mom's painting down to the exact like colors that my mom used, very, very, very subtly in the it's got a little wacky over here with the, where did I go with this paint? Okay, it's coming up a little further than I thought. But he did a beautiful job on it. I would lift my shirt, but you would all go, put your shirt back down. Because I have a little COVID weight right now, which I really don't care about, because I'm getting rid of it and getting back to, all the post-COVID, if you will. I know people are still getting COVID, so we're not post-COVID, but on the other side of the worst of it, and they're able to treat it now, thank goodness. Thank goodness for doctors who know their shit. There we go. That's pretty cool. Make sure I get rid of all the black that's underneath there, just to make it a little bit more brilliant, so it contrasts here. There, eye cavities are done. You see the copper? Why is my lens so foggy? It's really weird. Well, that didn't help at all. Just seems a little fuzzy to me today. Not so clear color-wise. I think it's too bright. So, focus on there. So that's cool. Another layer there, right? Let's get another coat on her chin. Make a little bit more solid copper. And like I said, this is bright copper, is what they call it. And where is it going? Outside. So don't obsess over it, Patrick. There, very, very cool. So now we're 20 minutes in. So I've got that started. I'll start another one because I'm going to work on him as well. She's got that bright eye, which is very, very cool. And I may do something. I'm probably actually going to do a line. Actually, let's do that right now. I have a little, ooh, I know. This line right here I'm going to do in the copper as well. We'll give some more dimension to her other than just the mottled. Let's get this down through here. Now, remember what I was talking about with brushes, having a lot, I have like a billion brushes, right? Well, I'm blocking. You can't see what the heck I'm doing. There you go. So I'm taking a small brush for a small application. This is a synthetic brush, which works well with lighter paints because it just goes on smoothly, stays on smoothly, and you're not wiping it off in streaks as you're going along while you're painting. The paint brushes that you use, I do suggest that I recommend that you try out different brushes for different applications. Like I'll use, if I want, like I was mentioning before, like on my big paintings, if I want it to be digging through to the colors underneath, I've got tons of layers of paint, right? And I want to dig through to the under layers, I'm going to use a rougher bristle brush and do that intentionally. So that I don't have to, ooh. Go ahead and paint it and then stick your thumb on what you just painted. Easily fixed, no big deal. Nothing to worry about. Just something to giggle about. Yeah, so when you use the different types of brushes, the types of bristles for different applications. Now, how did I find that out? Well, because I pulled a brush out that was not a smooth bristle brush. You know, I use painter's brushes for those large ones, literally like that you get from, you know, the hardware store, and or the grocery store. I've gotten them there too, actually, oddly enough, when I found them inexpensively. So I grabbed that brush. It had rough bristles and it dug right through, and I was not intending on doing that. I was intending on using another layer. And I went, oh, that's kind of cool because I can see the color underneath. And then in places there was no color underneath. It came down to and it sort of dug down to the canvas. And I was like, I actually, oddly enough, really like that too. That'll work for me as well. So I went with it and kind of did let's take note of what I just did to learn from what I just did on from that mistake, if you will, or that experiment. And all right, she's coming along. That's cool. Next step is done with her. Very good. So go with it. You know what? But use different brushes. Experiment with your different brushes and see if you like them, if you don't like them. And if you don't like that brush, then you may go later. You go, oh, I have a great use for that. This is a good application for that sort of thing. All right. I will see you later. And I hope this helped a little bit. I am about to do another installment or episode where I do the other side of this guy, and then I'll start working a little bit on painting him. Actually, you know what we'll do? So we'll do Mr. Silver and we'll do taping on that one. All right. I will see you later. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you treat yourself well. All right? Don't be too hard on yourself. We're always hardest on ourselves. Give yourself space. Take a breath. All right? Bye.